Yah.
Hallelujah. Modim anachnu she'ata Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu Abraham, Yitzchak, ve'Yaakov le'olam va'ed.
נקרא את האלם, אלימלך בן מורה אורניה, בכל לוי בן ישראל.
Baruch Yehovah Yom Yom, Baruch Yehovah Tamid, Ubaruch Abba, Likrat HaTorah. Amen.
Let me read from Deuteronomy, the 18th chapter, beginning the 14th verse to the end of the 16th verse.
Ki hagoyim ha'ele asher ata yoresh bi navi mikwir b'cha ve'achecha kamoni yakwim l'cha Yehovah Elohecha elatish ma'u koko asher sha'alta me'im Yehovah Elohecha b'chorei v'yom ha'ma'al lemor lo osef lish mo'a et ho Yehovah Elohai ואת האש הגדולה הזאת לא אראה עוד ולא אמות.
Amen.
For these nations that thou art to dispossess, hearken unto soothsayers and unto diviners. But as for thee, Jehovah thy God hath not suffered thee to do so.
A prophet will Jehovah thy God raise up unto thee from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto thee. Unto him you shall hearken.
According to all that thou didst desire of Jehovah thy God in Korah, in the day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear again the voice of Jehovah my God, neither let me see this great fire any more, that I die not. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Modim anachnu she'ata Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu Abraham, Yitzchak, ve'Yaakov le'olam va'ed.
נקרא את האלם, קיו בן מורה אורניה, בכל לוי בן ישראל.
Baruch Yehovah Yom Yom, Baruch Yehovah Tamid, Ubaruch Abba, Likrat HaTorah. Amen.
We'll be reading from Deuteronomy, the 19th chapter, beginning in the 14th verse to the end of the 16th verse.
Lo tasi gvul re'aka asher gvulu rishonim v'nachalatka asher tinkal ba'aretz asher Yehovah Elohecha noten laka larista. Lo yakum echad ve'ish laka alon ul kal chatat b'kal chet asher yeheta al pi Shnei Edim or Alpi Shalosha Edim Yakum Davar Ki Yakum E Ham Karmas Vaish La Arnot Vosara.
Amen.
One witness, excuse me. Thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they have old time have set, in thine inheritance which thou shalt inherit in the land that Jehovah thy God giveth thee to possess it.
One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity, or for any sin, and any sin that he sinned, at the mouth of two witnesses, or at the mouth of three witnesses, shall that be established.
If an unrighteous witness rise up against any man to pervert, witness against him. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Modim anachnu she'ata Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu Abraham, Yitzchak, ve'Yaakov le'olam va'ed.
נקרא את האלם, מיקה בן ראש מקובדיה, בכל לוי בן ישראל.
Baruch Yehovah Yom Yom, Baruch Yehovah Tamid, Ubaruch Abba, Likrat HaTorah. Amen.
We'll be reading from Deuteronomy, the 20th chapter, beginning in the 10th verse to the end of the 12th verse.
Ki tigrav el ir lehilahem aleha v'kwarata
Eleha LeShalom. Wahaya im Shalom. Ta'anka Ufatka Lak Wahaya Kal Ha'am Tanimsa Tanimsa Va Yehu Lak Lamas Wa'avaduka We'in Lo Taslim Imak Wa'asta Imak Imka Milkama Watsarta Aleha.
Amen.
Amen.
When thou drawest nigh unto a city to fight against it, then proclaim peace unto it.
And it shall be, if it make thee answer of peace, and open unto thee, then it shall be, that all the people that are found therein shall become tributary unto thee, and shall serve thee.
And if it will make no peace with thee, but will make war against thee, then thou shalt besiege it. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Modim Anakula, Sheata Welohenu, Welohe Avotenu, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Leolamai.
Negara et Hamafte ala Shabbat Hazeh. Sama Zakar, BINAH, Yisrael.
Ani po, look Hashem, show you hope.
Baruch Yahovah Yom Yom, Baruch Yahovah Tami, Ubaruch Haba, Levrei HaTorah.
More than any left in there, call you hope. Natan Lanu et HaTorah.
Amen. We'll be reading from Deuteronomy, the 21st chapter, beginning the 7th verse to the end of the 9th verse.
Well, I knew. Well, Amru Yadenu Lo Shafku et Hadam Hazet. Where Enenu Lo Ra'u. Kaper Am Ka Yisrael Asher Badita Yeho. Where Al Titain Dam Nakwi Bakwadev Amka. Yisrael. Where Nekaper Lahem Hadam. Where Ata. Tivaer Hadam Hanakwi Mi Puirbeka. Ki Taase Hayashor Ba'ene Yehoah.
Amen.
And they shall speak and say, our hands have not shed this blood, neither have our eyes seen it. Forgive, O Yehovah, thy people Yisrael, whom thou hast redeemed, and suffer not innocent blood to remain in the midst of thy people Yisrael, and the blood shall be given. So shalt thou put away the innocent blood from the midst of thee, when thou shalt do that which is right in the eyes of Yehovah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Modim Anakula, Sheata Welohenu, Welohe Avotenu, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Leolamai.
First and foremost, I just want to offer all honors, praises, respect, acknowledgement, and thanks unto the great King of the universe, to the God of our fathers, to the God of Abraham, the God of Yitzchak, and the God of Yaakov, thanking him for all things and everything. I bid you in the tongue of our forefathers, Shabbat Shalom L'Kol.
Shabbat Shalom L'Kah.
Please be seated. How's everybody feeling?
So.
Thanking the Most High God for life, for strength, for food, clothing, and shelter. Thanking the Most High God for the life that he gave my teacher, Hamore Mishael Ben Yisrael. Thanking him for the life that he gave one of my teachers, Chief of Chief Naphtali Ben Naphtali. Thanking him for the life that he gave to Sister Dina Henry, that I know a lot of people may not know her like that, but she was someone she was a sister who was around for a very long time. Thanking the Most High God for life. The Matthias portion for today is going to be found in the book of Yeshayahu, which is Isaiah in the 51st chapter, the 12th verse, and concluding in the 52nd chapter in the 12th verse. So, one of the things that when you kind of look out at the world looks somewhat different when you 14 versus when you 44. And you know, you start to, as you start to grow older and you start to mature and life starts to go on, you know, the things that used to seem important at 14 doesn't really seem as important at 44. When you see how the Most High God starts to move in the world, and I know at 14, a lot of times you don't recognize the hand of God. You start to recognize it a little bit better at 44, depending on who you are. Because some people don't even recognize it then. And that's the part that's a big problem for us as a people. And again, I want to preface my statement. When I say us as a people, I'm not talking about Israelites in knowledge of themselves. I'm talking about Israelites, period. Israelites, those people who were brought across those shores of the Atlantic Ocean. Whether you were dropped in Puerto Rico or St. Thomas or all of those different places that you might have been dropped in. You might have been dropped in Brazil. You might have been dropped in Costa Rica. You all the same people. You were just dropped off in the same spot. When they de-embarked the ship, they didn't de-embark the ship by mother, sister, daughter, son. They de-embarked the ship by, we need 5 men, you take 5 men. Boat goes on to the next stop. Just something for us to consider, and I think that it's important for us to consider that, because when you consider that, and when you consider some of the things that are going to be talked about in this portion, a lot of times we wonder why we as a people are such a quote-unquote religious people. I'm going to use a different term. Why we as a people are so much of a spiritual people. We read portions like this, and I guarantee you, if you read this portion with the understanding that God gave us, you'll understand why books like Isaiah and Jeremiah are so important.
That's right.
Because you're going to read it, and it's going to show you you. It's not going to show you who they told you or tried to get you to believe this book was talking about. It's going to show you you. And this is the way a lot of times we want God to speak to us. But you're going to read in the portion today that we already said that we don't want God to speak to us in the manner that he spoke to us on Mount Sinai. Because we couldn't handle that. So we want God to speak to us. God speaks to us through the words that he left on record in portions like this. And as you go through it and you read it and you relate it to yourself, you'll understand that this book is talking about you. For anyone who have seen Nat Turner movie or read about Nat Turner, one of the things that you'll realize is that the thing that Nat Turner used to galvanize, those people, those slaves, was he showed them the conditions that they were in, and he showed them the things that God promised them. And he showed them all out of the Holy Scriptures, out of the Old Testament. And the funny part is a lot of times when they teach us about the Bible, they don't like to teach us about the Old Testament. But when you read out of the Old Testament, you'll start to see that a lot of those passages relate to you. Let's start.
Isaiah in the 51st chapter and the 12th verse. Hallelujah.
How many of us believe in God?
Okay.
And then how many of us know God exists? You know, how many of us hope God exists? I know most of us hope God exists because it got to be something better than this. Right? It got to be something better than this. And we have that hope that God exists is the thing that keeps us, going. And that hope that God exists that keeps us going is those same words that God uses to speak to us, to motivate and inspire us to continue to move on. Come on.
Even I.
Talking about God. Talking about the real God. Talking about the God that created the heavens and the earth. Come on.
Am he that comforteth thee.
Okay, so it's starting off, so you know when you've been feeling that way, the first thing that you know you want to do is you want to turn to some sort of a spiritual source. Okay. You want to find God because you know finding God, the solace that comes with finding God is going to bring you comfort and peace. Come on.
Who art thou, that thou art afraid of man that shall die?
Say what?
And of the Son of Man that shall be made as grass. And has forgotten.
Now you got to read that all together.
Sorry.
You got to say, I am he that comforteth thee. Who art thou that are afraid of a mortal man that shall die, and the son of a man that shall be made as grass, and thou hast forgotten Jehovah thy maker? Because that's the part that we need to hear, and we need to hear it all together. Because a lot of times we become concerned and we become fearful. When Trump was elected, everybody was afraid because of what he was going to do. And we're looking at some of the policies that he is put in place. We're looking at some of the things that the various police departments and all of these things are doing to us as a people, and we become afraid. But God starts off the portion by saying, I am even he who comforts you. Who are you to be afraid of a mortal man that shall die? To the point that you have forgotten that I'm God and I created all of this. And that I control all of this. And if you right with me, I'll make sure that you're taken care of. Who are you to be afraid of a mortal man that shall die? And as has forgotten thy maker, come on.
And has forgotten Jehovah thy maker that stretched forth the heavens.
That's the God I'm talking about.
And laid the foundations of the earth.
Come on.
And fear is continually all the day because of the fury of the oppressor.
You worry so much about the fury of the oppressor and what he can do. What he might do. And I'm here to tell you that there's nothing that he can do. You want to take off Shabbat? Take off Shabbat. Because they're going to give you a letter and they have to respect that. The fury of the oppressor. Come on.
And as he maketh ready to destroy. And where is the fury of the oppressor?
Where?
He that is bent down shall speedily be loosed. And he shall not go down dying into the pit. Neither shall his bread fail. For I am Jehovah thy God, who stirreth up the sea that the waves thereof roar.
So now you dig that. Where's the fury of the oppressor when the Most High God sent Dorian and on a daily basis? Other than black people. Desolation and the sword. We see it every day, but a lot of times we don't think about it. Come on.
Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets.
Who is that?
As an answer.
Hold on. Stop. Take a minute and think about it. When you go in hoods, who do you see in the streets? At the head of every street. And then when you go in other neighborhoods, who do you see at the head of every street? Ain't nobody at the head of the other street in the other neighborhoods because that don't apply to them. Come on.
Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets as an antelope in a net. They are full of the fear of Jehovah, the rebuke of thy God. Now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine. Thus saith the Lord, and thy God that pleadeth of his have taken out of thy hand the cup of staggering, the beaker, even the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again. And I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee, that have said unto thy soul, bow down that we may go over.
Who did that happen to other than us? We were the ones that they bow down so that I can walk over. We were the ones that built places, that built this country and countries like this just for other people to come up, step on, and they get ahead. We've been in, listen, my grandmother lived in Fort Greene projects for 40 years. 40 years. And every store that's on Park Avenue, every store that's on Myrtle Avenue, none of the people that own. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I know a lot of times we don't, because we can't see it. Sometimes we can't see it. You ever had a black teacher? Nah, seriously. Have you ever had a black, listen, I'm telling you, I went to a school where it was in Queens, where it was all the teachers were Caucasian. And they taught. And then when I got to a school where I had a black teacher who really, really cared, oh my goodness, she really, really cared.
Right.
Because she didn't teach it because she was getting a paycheck. She taught it because she wanted you to know it. Only people who are gonna comfort you is the people who look like you.
Yeah.
Come on.
Chapter 52, hallelujah.
So now that all of that has been done, this is our job. Come on.
Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion, put on thy beautiful garments,
my
O
goodness.
Jerusalem.
We got that part. We got to put on the beautiful garments part. Because we get fly, and we get dipped, and we get lit, and we get all that. We got that part. Come on.
O Jerusalem, the holy city, for henceforth there shall no more come unto thee the uncircumcised and the unclean. Shake thyself from the dust, arise and sit down, O Jerusalem. Loose thyself from the bands of thy neck, O captive daughter of Zion.
Now, we as a people have to learn how to stop being servants.
Okay.
We need to learn how to stop following and learn how to lead.
Right.
Hear me, please. We need to learn how to stop following, and we need to learn how to lead. And then we need to learn how to be led by people who look like us.
Right.
Because if you listen to the portion today, which I really hope you do, the God already set the order in place. He said, when I send you a prophet, when you set a king over, they are going to look like you. So if you have a problem listening to people who look like me, guess what? You got a problem. Because they got look, the person who's going to comfort you and motivate you and guide you, guess what? He going to look like me. He might be a little lighter, might be a little darker. He going to look like me. A little longer hair, shorter hair, whatever you want. He going to look like me. He going to look like you.
Right.
Come on.
Verse 3, for thus saith Jehovah, ye were sold for naught, and ye shall be redeemed without money. For thus saith Jehovah Elohim, my people went down aforetime into Egypt to sojourn there, and the Assyrian oppressed them without cause. Now therefore, what do I hear, saith Jehovah, seeing that my people is taken away for naught? They that rule over them do howl, saith Jehovah, and my name continually all the day is blasphemed.
Dig that. The people who rule over us, and God's name all day is blasphemed. Dig that. Because we're not supposed to be on the bottom, we're supposed to be on the top.
Right.
I hope y'all don't think that this is, because I know a lot of times they might deem this black supremacist talk. It's not black supremacist talk. It's love talk. We have to want us to get ahead. We have to learn to want us to get ahead. Come on.
6, therefore my people shall know my name. Therefore they shall know in that day that I, even he that spoke, behold, here I am. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of the messenger of good tidings, that announceth peace, the harbinger of good tidings, that announces salvation, that saith unto Zion, thy God reigneth.
Why is that good news? Because when our God reigns, that might mean that, things gonna start to get better for us. But the only way things gonna get better for us is when we start to make things better for us. So when you hear people talking, we come up and you hear people talking about building business. And you hear people come up and talking about building relationships and all of those types of things. We need to learn how to work together with us. We need to learn how to get jobs where we can employ us.
That's right.
Whether that means you get to be in a position where you could call the shots, where you could say, I want the resume that says,
That's right.
Yehonatan ben Yehoshua ben Yehoshadek ben Dan. I want that resume. Pick him. But guess what? In order for me to be able to pick that resume, I know I got you. I got you. In order for me to be able to pick that resume, Yehonatan ben, what I say, Yehoshadek ben Yehoshua, him, he need to be qualified.
Right.
Which means he need to be able to go to school and get qualified.
Right.
Or get some, why is he angry? We need to be qualified. That's what we need to do, right? We need to be qualified. Because what we've seen is so many times where people unqualified get the job that you was qualified for. How'd that feel? You gonna feel the same way to somebody else?
8. Hark thy watchmen, they lift up the voice, together do they sing. For they shall see eye to eye your whole return to Zion. Break forth into joy, sing together ye waste places of Jerusalem. For Jehovah hath comforted his people, he hath redeemed Judicial.
This is the funny thing. We need to learn how to be comforted. Because the way that we were taught how to be comforted is not conducive for us to move forward. Sometimes being comforted means that somebody has to tell you, listen, I know you're not happy with this, but you need to fix this.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's what being comforted means. Being comforted doesn't mean that I allow you to do something that's not beneficial for you. That's not me comforting you. That's actually me adding to your destruction. We need to learn what being comforted means. Sometimes being comforted don't mean that I give you money to aid you in your problem, but I try to lift you up and give you the skills so that you can get better. Because when you get better, we get better. Hear me? When you get better, we get better. Come on.
10. Jehovah hath made bare his holy arm in the eyes of all the nations, and all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our God. Depart ye, go ye out from thence, touch no unclean thing. Go ye out of the midst of her, be ye clean, ye that bear the vessels of your hope. For ye shall not go out in haste, neither shall ye go by flight. For Jehovah will go before you, and the God of Yisrael will be your rearward. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Because when you go, when you take that first step to go forward, God is going to be there as your rearward to be your protection. But you got to go first. We need to step up first. We need to move forward first. All honors, praises, respect, acknowledgement, and thanks are offered unto the God of our fathers, to the God of Abraham, the God of Yitzchak, and the God of Yaakov, thanking him for all things and everything. Shabbat Shalom L'kol.
Shabbat Shalom L'kol.
That was cool. I like that. I like that.
You got to say that.
At this time, we'll conclude the service with the singing of the song, Segol Torah. We ready?
Segor
Return
unto
for teacher of the afternoon, of the, well, it's afternoon right now, but morning, I guess. Rosh Uzziel, be Lewi when Yisrael.
Hallelujah.
You may be seated. Thank you the Most High God for this day, the Holy Shabbat day.
Amen.
Thanking the Creator for life, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding.
Amen.
Food, clothing, and shelter. Thanking the Creator for the understanding of Torah, which many people don't have. But He blessed us with that understanding, and we must be grateful for that.
Amen.
Got to thank the Creator for that. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Portion that we're going through today is called Shoftim. Which is found in the book of Deuteronomy or Devarim, chapter 16, starting from verse 18. Take it away, my brother.
You're starting already. We're in the portion of Shoftim, which is found in the book of Devarim, which is Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 18. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Judges and officers, shalt thou make thee in all thy gates, which Jehovah thy God giveth thee tribe by tribe, and they shall judge the people with righteous judgment. Thou shalt not wrest judgment, thou shalt not respect persons, neither shalt thou take a gift. Gift for a gift doth blind the eyes of the wise, and pervert the words of the righteous.
So, very important from the beginning of this chapter where it speaks about judges, right? It says here Shoftim, where I'm getting there, brother. A Shoftim, right? It says Shoftim, right?
Okay.
So sometimes when we speak Hebrew, especially in this captivity, when we speak Hebrew, you got to actually look at the words in Hebrew so that you understand exactly what is it that you're saying. Because when you, sometimes we speak Hebrew English.
Okay. Okay.
Hebrewish. You know, we say words that we add an S at the end of it to try to make it plural when the word is already plural.
Okay.
You know, so the word for judges is Shoftim, right?
Okay.
And the words for officers, or what we call police officers today, we usually say Shomrim, right? But right here I see it says Shomrim, and some of us say Shomrims, and that's plural already once you got the mem at the end of it. Every word is not a word that, it's not like people think Spanish, right? People think like when you talk Spanish, you say gallo, right? So if I say gallo in Spanish, what's a gallo?
A rooster.
You can't say galla.
No, you can't.
There's no such thing as a galla. You just add an A at the end and it makes it feminine and boom.
No.
That's a female chicken. That's not how it works.
There you go.
You know, so when we speak the language, give you an example. And this brother, he will correct me, but he always has to make fun of me before he corrects me. And he know who I'm talking to, who I'm talking about, Chief Mekel. He will correct you, but he has to make fun of you before he does it. So I used to say Sukkot all the time. He'd be like, what? Yeah, I used to say that. And he was like, no, brother, that's not the word. Sukkot. I'm like, oh, okay. But he corrected me. So we have to learn to correct ourselves, especially those Hebrew readers and the people who have understanding of Hebrew. When they hear us brothers making mistakes, say, no, that's not the way you say the word. This is the way you say the word. Because right here, I've been saying Shomrim for years. What is it? That's a guard also? All right, but it says Shomrim here.
There you go.
That's a captain, more like an officer.
An officer. Okay. Thank you, brother. You see, now we get an understanding here.
And I ain't laugh at you.
And you didn't laugh. Thank you. So that's how Hebrew is. You know, if I hear you saying something wrong in Spanish, I'm surely going to correct you. Be like, you don't say that like that. This is how you say it. You know? It says, so judges and officers shall you appoint in all your cities, right? Which Jehovah your God gives you for your tribes, and they shall judge the people with righteous judgment. You shall not pervert the judgment, you shall not respect someone's presence, and you shall not accept a bribe, for the bribe will blind the eyes of the wise and make just words crooked. So we're going into the land, the Most High God is saying, listen, when you're going into this land, make sure you make yourself some officers. Make sure you make yourself some judges, because there's going to be matters that come before you that you're going to have to judge. This is part of having a nation. Nation, you're going to make tough decisions. It says, and if you're a judge, don't accept gifts, because a gift will blind you. A gift will send you somewhere else, and you can't make a righteous judgment, because you cannot tell me if somebody gave you $50,000 that you're going to be able to judge them righteously. Yeah, it says here, make sure I get it right. Judges and officers shall make thee in all thy gates which Jehovah thy God giveth thee, tribe by tribe, they shall judge the people with righteous judgment. Righteous. It has to be right. The key word in righteous is right. It has to be right.
Right.
Thou shalt not rest. Go ahead. Keep reading, my brother. Verse 19.
Thou shalt not rest judgment. Thou shalt not respect persons. Neither shalt thou take a gift, for a gift doth blind the eyes of the wise and pervert the words of the righteous.
And pervert the words of the righteous. You hear that? It says here, thou shalt not rest judgment. In this book it says, you shall not pervert judgment. Meaning that because somebody has money, that's where the bribery comes in. Somebody got money, they could buy freedom.
Yes.
That's what we talk about the American justice system. It says as long as you got money, you could get out of anything.
That's right.
Because if you got money, you can lawyer up, you can hire investigators, you can make the people that's coming against you look bad, and you walk out.
That's right.
But this is what the book is saying. It says, never mind all that. The rich, the poor. If the rich did something wrong, don't allow them to walk because they're rich. If the poor did something wrong, don't allow them to walk because they're poor, because you have sympathy for them. It says, right here, man, I never thought I got to this point in my life, but I'll have to take off glasses and put them back. For a gift doth blind the eyes of the wise and pervert the words of the righteous. That means the judge was righteous.
Yes.
But because he took that gift, he was compromised.
Yes. Yes, he was.
That's the right word. He was persuaded to say or to do something that he knew wasn't right.
Exactly.
So we have to be righteous. We have to be right. We have to be just when it comes to judgment before the Most High God. Let us go.
20. Justice shalt thou follow, that thou mayest live, and inherit the land which Jehovah thy God giveth thee.
It says there justice. But in Hebrew it says Sadiq, right?
Righteousness.
Righteousness of righteousness. Be right. Again, be right. Whenever you make this judgment, because that's what God delights in. Let us go.
21. Thou shalt not plant thee an Asherah of any kind of tree besides the altar of Jehovah thy God, which thou shalt make thee. Neither shalt thou set thee up a pillar which Jehovah thy God hateth.
So the Most High God, he said, when you build an altar to him, he said, don't plant no tree next to it. It said specifically, don't plant this Asherah tree, because the Asherah was a god of the Canaanites that they worshiped.
Okay.
And in Canaanite lore or in their legends, they said that El was the chief god. Asherah was his consort. And from them came all the other 234 gods that the Canaanites worship.
Okay.
So now, this goes to language and how we speak and the things that we say. Somebody came up here a few weeks ago and spoke about the word God. And we understand that some people have problems with the word God, and that's your prerogative.
Good.
But when we're talking about the Canaanites used the word El to signify their chief God. They used the word Baal to signify their chief God. Now in Hebrew, Baal means what? Master? Lord. And in some references, some people refer to their husbands as Abba Ali.
Okay.
Right.
And in the same Canaanite language, when they had a god named Yah, he was the god of the sea. How do you say sea in Hebrew?
Yeah.
So language is funny. You understand? What we're talking about, making mentions of the gods of the people, is the known gods. These gods that people worship. This is what the Most High God is talking about. Because when you get into language is a funny thing. And you will be saying something in your language that will mean something totally different in another language. But we worship the true and living God.
Amen.
And if El is the God of the Canaanites, then that means most of us who got El at the end of our names, we have a name as an abomination. My name surely will be an abomination, Uzziel. Everybody who have them L's at the end of their names will be an abomination. So we're not going to get that deep with the word God, because God is something that signifies, when we say the Most High God, we know who we talking about.
That's right.
And specifically, we could say the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but just to say God and to deem it to be wrong, I don't think that that's something, because we understand who we're talking about.
Amen.
Let us go.
Chapter 17, verse 1, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Thou shalt not sacrifice unto Jehovah thy God an ox or a sheep, wherein there is a blemish, even any evil thing, for that is an abomination unto Jehovah
If
thy
Agent
God.
Orange came to your house, if Agent Orange came to your house, and number 45,
Oh,
if he came to your house, even for him, you will give him the best of what you got. How much more for the Most High God? So God is saying, don't give me nothing that's lame, nothing with a missing eye, nothing with a leg short and the other one long, or something missing. Give me perfection. That's what I require from you. Let us go.
2. If there be found in the midst of thee within any of thy gates, which Jehovah thy God giveth thee, a man or a woman, that doeth that which is evil in the sight of Jehovah thy God, in transgressing his covenant, and he have gone and served other gods and worshipped them, or the sun or the moon, or any of the hosts of heaven, which I have commanded not, and it be told to thee, and thou hear it, then thou shalt inquire diligently, and behold, if the thing be true, and the thing be certain, that such an abomination was wrought in Yisrael, then thou shalt bring forth that man or that woman who have done this evil thing unto the gates, even that man or that woman, and thou shalt stone them with stones, and that they die. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is to die be put to death. At the mouth of 1 witness he shall not be put to death. The hands of the witnesses shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterward the hand of all the people.
This law is very specific. And when it speaks about the witnesses, and when it speaks about what is happening at this moment. This is talking about idolatry and idol worshiping. Right? So it's saying, look, if in the midst of you there arises someone that tries to entice you to go serve another god, say, come on, let's go serve this Baal Zephon. Let's go serve this Baal, or let's go serve that one. It says you do diligent inquiry. Right? The accusers got to come up, and they got to make an accusation. And then it goes on and it says here, then thou shalt bring forth that man or that woman who have done this evil thing unto thy gates, even the man or the woman, and thou shalt stone them with stones that they die. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is to die be put to death. So it says at the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses. Seems redundant, because it says you already got 2 witnesses. Why do you mean? Because you're supposed to bring as many witnesses as you can, because you're taking someone's life.
Amen.
So if you got 100 witnesses, you bring 100 witnesses. When you have a court case, right?
Amen.
The prosecution brings as many witnesses up as they can, because they try to nail you to that, put that last nail on the coffin on you. So you bring as many witnesses as you can. So this is what it's saying. Like, it doesn't matter if it's, as long as it's 2 or more, you good. Right? 1 witness for this matter, you can't put them to death. 1 witness for this matter, you can't put them to death. There are other matters that speaks about just 2 people being there together. And the law says you put one to death and the other one you keep alive. And there is no witnesses to that. You know what I'm saying? So every law is not, from what I understand and what I see, sometimes you got to do investigation. That's why all the time you got to do investigation. For most part, if it's a clean-cut case, like a bunch of people witness something, that's going to be clearer cut than any other case, right? But there's cases where things happen in secret, and now you got to investigate. That's why you have, what do you call the homicide detectives, right? Homicide detectives don't always have all the clues, right? They go around, they say somebody's dead. All right, let's start looking at video, surveillance tape. All right, we see a white car. The plate numbers are kind of blurry. Now they start looking and questioning. All right, we got this plate number. Let's start tracking down the cell phone conversations. Let's start, that's diligent inquiry. Now you start bringing it down. There's no witnesses to the crime, but now you start investigating. And then finally, when they gather all the evidence, right? They gather all the evidence, they pull in the person and they go, Joshua Johnson. Joshua Johnson.
JJ at it again.
JJ. What were you on the night of September, such and such and such? So and so. Oh, I was at such and such house. Oh, okay, but it shows that your vehicle was leaving this bank. And they start building their case. And they start building their case. And then at some point, if you're lying and you continue to lie, the judges make a decision. You done messed up now. The judges gonna make a decision. And that's how judgment goes. At sometimes. Because sometimes the person who's guilty confesses. Right? You ever seen Last 48? Maybe like this. First 48, whatever. I said last 48 there. If it's the last 48, they're already gone. Maybe like this. Maybe like that. Come on, JJ. Come on. Come on, JJ. We got everything here laid out. He like, yeah, I did it. I did it. I did it. But that's diligent inquiry. Once you inquire, once you look, because every matter's now, it's just like the matter of somebody who's dead. And they find them in the field. It's not no witnesses to that.
Exactly. Exactly.
You got to go out. You got to investigate. You got to start. It's not just like a body is just left there. They're gonna investigate and they're gonna start counting down. They're gonna start. Who's new in the city? Who just came around here? It wasn't just everything was clear cut.
No, it's not.
You have to put righteous men and women that are going to judge a case and that are going to come up with the answers or come up with a solution for what it is that was before them. And this is how judgment works, and this is how investigation works. We wasn't sitting around a bunch of dummies. These people weren't dummies.
Thank you.
They weren't off. They didn't lack understanding. They knew how to go about investigating and doing the things that they needed to do.
That's right.
And at the end of it, if we were in good with the Creator, He will give us the answer.
Amen. Amen.
Didn't He do it with Ekron?
That's right.
Amen.
That's right. That's right.
Amen.
That's right.
We gotta talk about that part.
He'll give us the answer.
That's right.
Talk about that.
He exposes it.
Yeah.
Eventually, you be thinking and wondering and doing this, and God always exposes it.
Amen. Amen.
That's the God we serve.
Hallelujah.
Let us go.
So thou shalt put away the evil from the midst of thee.
So what?
So thou shalt put away the evil from the midst of
Because you got to remove that evil from among you. Because you know why? Evil festers.
That's right.
And it spreads.
That's right.
Wrong spreads.
Amen.
Let us go.
8. If there arise a matter too hard for thee in judgment, between blood and blood, plea and plea, and between stroke and stroke, even matters of controversy within thy gates, then thou shalt arise and get thee up unto the place which Jehovah thy God shall choose. And thou shalt come unto the priests, the Levites, and unto the judge that shall be in those days.
In our land, we don't separate church and state as they say here.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got to have the godly factor.
That's right.
Right? Because the Kohanim are supposed to be the connection between us and God.
That's right.
The Levites are supposed to be that. But more specifically, the Kohanim. So it tells you, ain't no separation of state and religion. You gotta, everybody goes in there. This is the judgment that the Kohanim and that the judges are gonna make. They all are gonna put their eyes on it and they're gonna investigate. Let us go.
And thou shalt inquire, and they shall declare unto thee the sentence of judgment.
Yes.
And thou shalt do according to the tenor of the sentence, which they shall declare unto thee from the place that Jehovah shall choose. And thou shalt observe to do according to all that they shall teach thee.
You hear that? You should do everything that they tell you to do.
That's right.
Because that decision, God left in their hand.
Amen.
Because every decision is not going to be clear cut.
That's right. That's right.
Everything is not going to be clear cut. So he said, make you judges, make you officers, and let the priests decide on whether or not this is right or this is wrong. And whatever they tell you, you better listen to it. Continue.
11. According to the law which they shall teach thee, and according to the judgment which they shall tell thee, thou shalt do. Thou shalt not turn aside from the sentence which they declare unto thee, to the right hand, nor to the left.
Don't turn around from the sentence which they give you to the right, nor to the left, saying, I'm not going to listen to that. They don't know what they're talking about. Even if you know
Talk about it.
that they showing you that right is left or that left is right, you still got to listen to what they tell you to do. Judges, so why do you make judges and officers for?
Amen.
Why do you make men of renown to make decisions if you don't follow their decision?
Amen.
And what does God say after that?
12.
Uh-huh.
And the man that doeth presumptuously in not hearkening unto the priest that standeth to minister there before Jehovah thy God, or unto the judge, even that man shall die.
Right.
It is.
And thou shalt exterminate the evil from Yisrael, and all the people shall hear and fear, and do no more presumption.
There will be no anarchy in our way of life.
No.
There will be no renegades in our way of life. It says, if you can't listen, we don't care how much money you got, who you know and all that. If you can't listen to the tenor of that law, then it says you eliminate that person because you don't want that evil to spread in the midst of you. That's the laws of God. I didn't make that up.
Amen.
Today, we cannot execute certain things because we live in this land.
That's right.
Understood. And we don't encourage anybody to do anything.
No.
I'm just teaching what God said.
Exactly.
So we're not out here telling you do this and do that and or move this way or move that way. We just explaining what the Torah says.
Okay.
The Torah says when somebody don't follow the law, that this is what you do. Even in the United States of America, you got death penalties for certain things that you do.
That's right.
Certain states carry a death penalty for certain violations. Let us go.
14. When thou art come unto the land which Jehovah thy God giveth thee, and shalt possess it, and shalt dwell therein, and shalt say, I will set a king over me, like all the other nations that are round about me. Thou shalt in any wise set a king over thee, whom Jehovah thy God shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not put a foreigner over thee who is not thy brother.
I mean, that's common sense. Nobody puts someone over them that's not of their own kind.
Makes sense.
I mean, if you're one to vote and you're one to go to the polls and do things like that, why would you put somebody over you that's not of you?
Thank you. Say that again.
Why would you put somebody over you that's not of you?
Thank you.
I mean, they've been doing it for years.
Thank you.
They don't, the majority of them don't put
No, they
people
don't.
over them
No.
that's not of
Not of
them.
them.
So why would you put somebody over you that's not of you? That's common sense.
Teach that.
Say, oh, how many? They be looking at me, I'll be calling the lady, I'll be like, come over here for a second. Be like, which one of these is, you know?
Yeah, just like that.
And she go, there's always like a West Indian lady that says she in my neighborhood, she. Because they're not supposed to tell me. I just refuse to do that. If I have the option, I refuse to do that.
Amen.
That's just me. I'm not, that's me. Let's go.
16. Only he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that thou shouldest multiply horses, for as much as Jehovah hath said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way.
All these prime ministers, presidents, and all that, they're supposed to, although they're not monarchy where they pass when they die, it passes on to their children, but they are like modern day kings. And what a lot of them do is they get rich off the people.
Amen.
As much as, what was my man name that passed away from Venezuela? Chavez. As much as he did, he got rich off the country.
Yeah.
The oil, he exploited the country, and he was getting a big chunk off the top. That's what it's talking about. You shall not do.
Amen.
You shouldn't be you're going to live comfortably. No one is saying that you're not going to live comfortably, but what it's saying is don't rob the people of the wealth.
Amen.
Let the people live. Don't multiply horses, because if you multiply horses, you're going to have all the best horses. Don't multiply wives, because every woman you see, you're going to be like, I want her. Every beautiful woman you see, you're going to be like, I want her. And it's going to take you away from doing what you're supposed to do. And it was proven in our history through King Solomon. 700 wives, 300 concubines, that was, come on. Come on. It take you about 3-4 years to go see each wife a day out of every day of those years.
Shabbat.
And forgot about Shabbat. You can't, come on. So, this is exactly what the Most High God warned us against. Don't multiply, because they're going to take you away from doing your job. Amen. You have to do a job. When you're a king, you have to concentrate on as a king, you are a servant to the people. Amen. More so than a servant than the people serving you. Because a true king be like Melech Dawi, who went out to war and protected his people.
Yeah. Amen.
You know, you have people like in history like Che Guevara, who came from a wealthy family, but he went out there and fought for the freedom of people. And he died fighting. You know, trying to free people from oppression. Try to free governments from oppression. You know, so those are the people that you take your hints from. Castro started out as that, but then he got corrupted. Because he started just gathering the money, and they drive around in Benzes and do all types of stuff, and the people, they just gave the people of Cuba raises, the doctors, the teachers, after so many years. They living off of nothing. I know they got embargoes on them, but they were living well. The Castros are living well. So, you know, power corrupts. And this is what the Most High God is warning the king, saying, look, power corrupts. Don't do these things because it will corrupt you. Let us go.
17. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold.
Silver and gold. You don't need all that silver and gold. You got to serve the people. Let's go.
And it shall be, when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book, out of that which is before the priests, the Levites.
This is a reminder. Every day, you in that book. Every day, you in that Torah. Every day, you write so that you remember and you don't stray away. So we should take a page out of that book and make sure that we read the words of this Torah every day. So that we could stay in line with Torah. Yah is great. Yah won't give us anything that will lead us astray. Everything that he did was perfect, right, and exact. Let us go.
19. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear Jehovah his God, to keep all the words of this law and these statutes and do them.
So if he go on an excursion somewhere, he got it right.
That's right.
It's not just when he's in Israel that he got it right. It says, so this is something that he has to make like homework every day. He sit down and he write out of the book of the Torah every day so that he remember.
Keep him grounded.
Keep him grounded. Let's go.
20. That his heart be lifted not up above his brethren, and that he turn not aside from the commandment to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Yisrael.
If he do these things, he'll safeguard himself against corruption.
Amen.
Men could corrupt themselves.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't have a check and a balance to keep you grounded. So it says if your counselors and everybody else fail, at least Torah will keep you grounded. Because you're going to have people around you counseling you. But if all that fails, if you read this book every day, it should set you on the right way. Or if you got wicked people around you and you read this book, the book will give you guidance and set you on the right path. Let us go.
Chapter 18, verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
The priests, the Levites, even all the tribe of Levi shall have no portion nor inheritance with Yisrael. They shall eat of the offerings of Yahweh made by fire and his inheritance. And they shall have no inheritance among their brethren. Yahweh is their inheritance, as he has spoken unto them.
So y'all need to take care of the Levites.
Starting from today.
You heard the chief Levite said, starting from today. Take care of the Levites because they have no inheritance. Their inheritance is the Most High God. Let us go.
3. And this shall be the priest's due from the people, from them that offer a sacrifice, whether it be an ox or sheep, that they shall give unto the priest the shoulder, and the 2 cheeks and the more.
So the Levites he get a lot. You know, he getting like the prime stuff. Get the shoulder from the animals, from the herd or from the flock, and he get the 2 cheeks, the 2 rear, the rump, right? And what else?
The more.
And the maw. Now, when you research maw says is the stomach lining of the animal. Some people eat that. It's called tripe.
I'll try.
It doesn't have any blood in it.
No blood.
It doesn't have anything like that. And some people eat the tripe. When you look it up, it says that for the maw, it classifies it as tripe.
That's what it is.
That's what we know as tripe. Let's go.
4. The first fruits of thy corn and of thy wine and of thine oil, and the first fruits of the fleece of thy sheep shalt thou give them.
Okay.
For Yahweh thy God hath chosen him out of all the tribes to stand to minister in the name of Yahweh, him and his sons.
So
forever.
I'll more than guarantee when the people stop giving that the first cutthroats and robbers was Levites.
I can believe that.
I mean, I could almost guarantee that. Because if you have no inheritance, and the people are not giving the way they're supposed to give, and you down and out, what you gonna do? You're gonna go get it. Now we know that Levi had heart. We know that for sure. Because him and Simeon went and took out a whole city. So we know they had the nerve to do certain things. We had some warring priests in our history.
Oh, yeah.
The Levites, when we read later, it said they're the ones that come out and and offer the people peace. They right in the front line. All right. We offer you to surrender. Now, do you want to surrender in peace? Or do you want to face what's coming to you? You have warring priests. Priests that wasn't afraid to get their hands dirty.
Amen.
So, you know, that's also part of when we think of priests, we think of they are sanctified to the Most High, but they will do anything to protect the nation also. Let us go.
6. And if a Levite come from any of thy gates out of all Yisrael, where he sojourneth and come with all the desire of his soul unto the place which Yahweh shall choose, then he shall minister in the name of Yahweh his God,
Okay.
as all his brethren the Levites do who stand before Yahweh. They shall have like portions to eat besides that which is his due, according to his father's house.
So I always said we don't know what tribes you're really from, but if you're calling yourself a Levite, then do what Levites do. When you come into a place and you say that you're a Levite, Levites do work.
That's right.
Amen.
That's right.
Every time I go to North Carolina, they put me to work right away. They be like, "Oh, Chief, come on, let's go." It's like, "You a Levite? Come on, let's go." They put you to work. Because that's the job and the duty of a Levite. When it comes to the service, when it comes to running certain things, the Levites have to be on top of it. If you call yourself Levi, then you have to be ready to do the service before the Most High God.
Okay.
Amen.
Let's go.
9. When thou art come into the land which Jehovah thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire.
You see, don't do after the abominations of these nations. They drank blood.
Yes.
They sacrificed their children to Molech,
That's right.
which was the fire
Fire
god
God. That's right.
that supposedly gave you more children. So don't do after the abominations of these nations. Let's go.
One that useth divination,
Uh-huh.
a soothsayer, or an enchanter, or a sorcerer, or a charmer, or one that consulteth with a ghost or familiar spirit, or a necromancer.
So now it's mentioning these things. It's not because these things don't necessarily work, because who was it? Balak? He hired Bilam,
Yeah.
right, to come and curse the children of Israel.
That's right.
That means he had to have some type of something with him to be able to do something. The Egyptians was able to turn staffs into serpents.
That's right.
So there's something in this world, and there are things in this world that we cannot understand. And the Most High God is telling us, stay away from that.
Hallelujah.
I was talking to my Abba because when I went down there last year, I've been gathering the history from my family. So he was telling me about my great-grandfather on his mother's side. Not his father's side, on his mother's side. So my great-grandfather on his father's side is a Cholo.
Okay.
So in Panama, what we call a Cholo is an indigenous person. He's basically a Native American, a Cholo, right? So that's his mother's father, right? Her mother was a black woman,
Okay.
right? He tells me the story. He said, yeah, you know, he was living with a Chola, which is an indigenous. They was living right along the coast of Cologne, where I come from, but in the mountains. In those times, this is the late 1800s, and he was like, you know, he married, you know, that was his wife. They were trying to have children, but she couldn't have children for 4 years. She couldn't have children, so he met my great-grandmother. So he started messing with my great-grandmother, and boom, comes out my grandmother.
Okay.
My grandmother is born. That's the first child. So the Cholo, my great-grandfather, he still has his first wife, but he got his child over here. So like my father told the story, he said, he goes there again, another child come out. So now he got 2 houses, right? And he's still taking care of his Chola, but his wife now that with the children have children, so he's spending more time there. So he said something happened, they got into argument. Now he's telling me the story that his grandmother told him, which is my great-grandmother. So they got into an argument, he said, and that brought consequences. So the consequences was that all of a sudden he fell sick. He got sick. He couldn't move, he was down. So 4 of his friends had to walk him. In those times they didn't have roads. So they had to put him in a hammock, and they had to walk him through jungles and all this stuff, and they sent him to the curandero. Now the curandero is like in those times, the curandero could be the doctor, but he could also be like the obia man. You know what I mean? Curandero, he's taking care of you, and he could give you herbs to get you better, but he's also is into the black arts and stuff like that. Yeah, so he said when they got him there, the curandero said, well, why you bring him to me now? It's too late. You know, why you waited so long? Somebody jammed him up. That's in Panama. It's like somebody jammed him up. So he said, just leave him there. In the morning, he won't be alive. So as the story goes, my great-grandfather, boom, in the morning, he was dead. So then he asked my great-grandmother, he said, do you want... Now, this is where I think the legend begins, because, you know, they always put legends and stuff. So he said, do you want to see what killed him? She said, sure. So, you know, this is where the legend begins. Said they put a cross with a sword with a cross on his belly, and he started convulsing like he came back up to life, and he threw up a scorpion. So the scorpion came up. So then the next thing was, do you want to see who did it to him? Right? So when she said, of course, I want to see who did it to him. So go look in that glass of water. And the Chola's face, the first white face, came up saying that she did it to him. So what I believe is that something happened, but you know, that as stories go on, things get added to it and legends, you know, start to happen. And certain things do happen. Like when us growing up, we were told, don't eat from girls that you just met. These are things that are put into us from when we're young, when you come from certain areas. Because them girls gonna jam you up. That girl do this, that girl do that. And I've seen it through the years how people get jammed up But that's why the Most High God told us, stay away from all these people.
Yes, exactly.
From soothsayers, from diviners, from this people, from that people, enchanters, people that could tell you that they tell you the future. Because you got the false prophet that will tell you the future and try to entice you to serve another God.
Okay.
It says, and the reason you know he's a false prophet because he's trying to entice you to serve another God. He will tell you exactly what's going to happen, but he's trying to get you to serve another God. So these are things that are in the earth. These are things that are out there, and we have to be careful with as to who we eat from.
There you go.
Who we go and hang out with. You got traditions, things that women do from certain places. Amen. That they put their menstruation into men's foods to jam them.
Gross.
True story.
Gross.
True story.
Gross.
They mix it in there. He will never taste it, and they keep doing it. And these are things that people do to try to jam. But we got to put our trust in Yah. We walk in the faith of Yah, and those things will keep us strong.
Gross.
No weapon formed against you shall prosper. You got to be right with Yah though, and He will reveal everything to you. I got my next door neighbor. I remember it. He said he was going to the hospital, and he was walking. I said, "What happened, Dre?" He said, "Man, my groin is hurting." So I said, so he went. They did exploratory surgery, couldn't find nothing. Went to the next one, couldn't find nothing. They cut him. He went to 3 different specialists, couldn't find nothing. He said, finally somebody told him, "Yo, somebody jam you." So, the same thing, somebody jam you. So he went, he looked, and come to find out his ex-wife that was still living in Guyana, he said he would notice every time he would leave Guyana that his son would always ask him for something that he wore. These are different things that people do. This is the kind of necromancy and stuff that people is into. And if your spirit is not strong with Yah, you are open to it. Put your trust in Yah. That's why we have to be strong in this, because people will work things against you to try to jam you up. And he said, man, as soon as I break it and I found out, he said, the pain go away, man. He said they couldn't find nothing. He said one doctor told him that he had that he might have cancer, that he might have this, that it wasn't nothing. But people do things to get you, and these are things that are out there, black arts and things of that nature. And Louisiana, they deal with all that type of stuff. And you have to be careful who you go to, who you eat from, and the things that you do. Let us go.
12. For whosoever doeth these things is an abomination unto Jehovah. And because of these abominations, Jehovah thy God is driving them out from before thee. Thou shalt be wholehearted with Jehovah thy God for these nations, that thou art to dispossess, hearken unto soothsayers and unto diviners. But as for thee, Jehovah thy God has not suffered thee to do so.
We should be perfect with Jehovah our God, because these nations, they follow diviners and soothsayers. But we're supposed to be wholehearted with the Most High God so that He could protect us and He be with us. Let us go. 15.
A prophet. Will Jehovah thy God raise up unto thee from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me? Unto him ye shall hearken, according to all that thou didst desire of Jehovah thy God in Korab in the day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear again the voice of Jehovah my God, neither let me see this great fire any more, that I die not. And Jehovah said unto me, they have said well, that which they have spoken. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto me. And I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. But the prophet that shall speak a word in my name presumptuously, which I have not spoken or commanded him to speak, or that shall be spoken in the name of other gods, that same prophet shall die.
That same prophet shall die. So it tells you here to and Yahweh said unto me, they have well said, they spoken, I'll raise them up. So it's speaking about a prophet. A lot of Christians try to say that this is speaking about it's prophesying about the coming of Christ in the future. But there were many prophets that came. And what basically Moses is saying is like, you know, when I die, the Most High God's going to raise up another prophet. Joshua came after him. Then you got all during the time of the judges, the prophets that came then. You got during the time of Samuel, he was a prophet of the Most High God. You got all the prophets during the time of David. You got all the prophets, you got different types of prophets that will come, Jeremiah, Isaiah, that will come with the word of God to warn you against the things that you're doing wrong. That's why it tells you to be wholehearted with the Most High God, so that way you won't be at fault when it comes to keeping this Torah. Let us go.
21. And if thou wilt say in thy heart, how shall we know the word which Yahweh have not spoken? When a prophet speaketh in the name of Yahweh, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which Yahweh has not spoken. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously, thou shalt not be afraid.
All these preachers and teachers out here is false prophets. They lead people astray. Because you're teaching a doctrine that holds no water. When you're teaching people that if somebody died for their sin, when the Most High God already said in the book of Ezekiel 18, that everyone dies for their own iniquity, that is a false prophecy. Everyone dies for their own iniquity. The Most High God already said it on record. So all these people that's out here getting fat off the people, that's speaking smooth words and doing things to disillusion people, these people are not people that are prophets of the Most High God. These people are false prophets. And they're not sanctioned by the Creator of heaven and earth. They just get rich off the people. Here it is, somebody in your congregation passes away, and you won't bury them.
Amen.
But you're worth millions of dollars. You said whatever they gave was to the Lord, but you're driving the Bentley. You're driving the BMW and the Benz. You're getting rich off the people. But your sermon is about the Lord loves a cheerful giver, but you won't give. And you won't help out those that are in need. You're getting rich off the people. Those people, the Most High God is going to visit them. They are false prophets. Let's go.
Chapter 19, verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
When Yahweh thy God shall cut off the nations whose land Yahweh thy God giveth thee, and thou dost succeed them, and dwell in their cities and in their houses, thou shalt separate 3 cities for thee in the midst of thy land, which Yahweh thy God giveth thee to possess it. Thou shalt prepare thee the way, and divide the borders of thy land, which Yahweh thy God causeth thee to inherit, into 3 parts, that every manslayer may flee thither. And this is the case of the manslayer, that shall flee thither and live. Whosoever killeth his neighbor unawares, and hateth him not in times past, as when a man goeth into the forest with his neighbor to hew wood, and his hand fetcheth a stroke with the axe to cut down the tree, and the head slippeth from the helve, and lighteth upon his neighbor that he die. He shall flee to one of these cities and live, lest the avenger of blood pursue the manslayer while his heart is hot, and overtake him because the way is long, and smite him mortally, whereas he was not deserving of death, in so much as he hated him.
So what this is saying is accidents happen. We're not living in a perfect world, so an accident might happen. People get hit by cars, accidentally. Children run into streets while cars are coming, they get hit. People die, accidental deaths happen. So what the Most High God said, when you go into the land, you know, I want you to take 3 cities and set them to the side for the manslayer, the person who didn't intentionally mean to kill another person. Right? And it gives an example about somebody that's hewing wood in the forest, and when they go to chop, the axe head goes flying, it hits somebody in the head, takes them out, the person dies. That person has to flee to one of these cities of refuge in order to be protected. Because you don't want the avenger of blood, which is the person who dies family, whose blood is hot, because they don't want to hear about it was an accident. You know, have you ever seen those scenes? You know, have you ever got to one of those scenes where a baby gets hit by a car? The car could be right. The child was chasing the ball into the street. Nobody wants to hear it. All they see is a baby on the street, and you did it. So it says, that's why you see some people, they'll do something and they'll drive off. They'll drive off. They might call the police. I mean, you're leaving the scene of an accident. That's wrong, and you're going to have to pay a price for that. But some people would rather do that than take what's coming, because it might cost them their lives. Because when the avenger of blood is there and he's hot, he doesn't want to hear that as an accident. He wants vengeance right away. And you got to let blood stop from boiling and come to an understanding, and wisdom will seep into them. Let us go.
7. Wherefore I command thee, saying, Thou shalt separate 3 cities for thee. And if Jehovah thy God enlarge thy border as he has sworn unto thy fathers, and give thee all the land which he hath promised to give to thy fathers, if thou shalt keep all his commandment to do it, which I command thee this day, to love Jehovah thy God, and to walk in his ways, then thou shalt add 3 more cities for thee besides these 3, that innocent blood be not shed in the midst of thy land for inheritance, so shall blood be upon thee.
So Yah said, if we do everything correctly, we go and inherit the land, and we do according to what he tells us to do, that he's going to enlarge our borders. And he's going to give us 3 more cities if we do things according to the way he put it for us to do, if we follow the command. Let's go.
11. But if any man hate his neighbor, and lie in wait for him, and rise up against him, and smite him mortally, that he die, and he flee into one of these cities, then the elders of his city shall send and fetch him thence, and deliver him into the hand of the avenger of blood, that he may die. Thy eye shall not pity him, but thou shalt put away the blood from the innocent from Yisrael, that it may go well with thee.
You shall not give refuge to the guilty.
Talk about it.
You shall not give sanctuary to the guilty.
Say it again.
I say you shall not give sanctuary to the guilty. If you know a person is guilty of a crime, that's a crime that perhaps might cost them their lives. It says, don't give them sanctuary. This is not for the manslayer who did it purposely, for the murderer. These cities of refuge is not for that. It says, if it's found out that this person murdered someone, because murder and killing are 2 different things, 2 different words, even in Hebrew, right? One is totally different than the other. That's why when in Christianity they taught us thou shalt not kill, that wasn't the proper translation. Yah didn't say thou shalt not kill. You kill to eat. You kill to defend yourself. You kill when you go out to war. You murder when you sit and you take someone's life without any purpose. So, talking about that murderer, you got blood on you. So the elders of that city shall march him out. And they should do to him what's due to him or to her. Let us go.
14. Thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set, in the inheritance which thou shalt inherit in the land that Jehovah thy God giveth thee to possess.
So a landmark is something that separates one piece of land to another. It could be a tree. This tree is the landmark, right? But now because the children might not live on the land anymore, but the neighbor's children still living there and they getting slick. So he said, cut down the tree and we could steal a few more inches, because them kids are not going to remember that.
Amen.
That's what it's telling you not to do. If the tree is the marker, leave that tree there. And if you see that the tree is is dying, and plant another tree. Plant 2 more trees. Because the land was already separated, it was appropriated for everyone right? Rightfully. It was given out. So don't try to take more. That's stealing. Let us go.
15. One witness shall not rise up against any man for any iniquity or for any sin. In that he sinneth at the mouth of 2 witnesses or at the mouth of 3 witnesses shall a matter be established.
Right.
If an unrighteous witness rise up against any man to bear perverted witness against him, then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before Yahweh, before the priests and the judges that shall be in those days. And the judges shall inquire diligently, and behold, if the witness be a false witness and have testified falsely against his brother, then thou shalt do unto him as he hath purposed to do unto his brother, so that thou shalt put away the evil from the midst of thee, and those that remain shall hear and shall fear, and shall henceforth commit no more such evil in the midst of thee. And thy eye shall not pity, life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot.
So in the era that we live in, the Me Too movement, and people, you know, living in this era that we live in, and what I'm saying is not against the people that have been victimized, right? But you had a case, I believe it was a few years back, where it was some women that were like that were call girls, right? And they accused, I forgot who it was. They accused somebody of like raping them, and this happened also. This was, I think it was the St. John's basketball team. It was some years back, like 10, 15 years ago. These young boys, they was in another state, and the women, they were call girls. They came, they had sex with the guys, and then when they left, when they realized that they was like basketball stars, they made an accusation that the guys raped them, right? Luckily, you know, and I'm not saying that the act was right to be calling call girls and stuff like that, because they were still young. I think one of them recorded it, and it proved that the girls were not raped, right? So in a matter like that, now the charge for rape, or for the accusation of rape, or for someone raping a woman, is death, right? So now, because you rose up as a false witness to say that these guys did this to me, right? And that's not what they did to you. What was supposed to happen to them should happen to you.
Amen.
That's how that law goes. Why? So that nobody else would raise up and make a false accusation, because that false accusation could cost someone their lives.
That's right.
That's right, I'm here. Let's go.
Chapter 20, verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
When thou goest forth to battle against thine enemies, and seest horses and chariots and a people more than thou, thou shalt not be afraid of them, for Yahweh thy God is with thee, who brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And it shall be, when ye draw nigh unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people, and say unto them, Hear, O Yisrael, ye draw nigh this day unto battle against your enemies. Let not your heart be faint, fear not, nor be alarmed, neither be affrighted at them. For Yahweh your God, he is that goeth with you to fight for you against your enemies, to save you.
To save you. So when you're going up to battle, don't be afraid of the size of the enemy. Don't you know that when you see gangs, 95% of them don't have heart? Most people who join gangs, don't have heart. The reason why they join is for protection, most of them, right? So they join this gang, and in the gang you might have a handful of guys that's what they call thorough. Guys that will actually go in and do certain things and deal with the repercussions. Okay. Don't snitch, don't do none of that. You know, today is different. The game done changed. You know, you got a bunch of snitches is accepted, they come back in the neighborhood and everybody give them a pound, and you know, back in the days it was a little bit different. Snitch couldn't come through the neighborhood. You know, so when you talk about gangs and people doing things, most people don't have the stomach for blood and gore.
Exactly.
Amen.
Most people don't have that. That's a whole different level. To run into danger and to fight, that's a whole different level.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something that everybody has the stomach for.
Amen.
Some people have it, some people don't. Right? Maybe you might not have the skills to know how to defend yourself, but you're not scared. So then you got to get your skills up.
Yeah.
Right? You got to do some training. Right? Because you got guys that they get beat up and they get hit, but they just want to grab you.
That's it.
They're not afraid. They just want to grab you so they can slam you or do something like that. You got guys that fight like that. And those are the hardest guys to fight.
Yeah.
Because they just, you tagging them up, you tagging them, and they keep getting back up and they just want to grab you. He got the heart, he just don't got the skills to break down what is it that you got.
That's right.
But don't run out of breath.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Done.
Don't run out of breath. Or after you tag them up good and you see he keep coming like a zombie, run.
Done. If he grab you,
But if he grab you, it's going to be a problem. I'm telling you. You're either going to have to knock him out because he's going to. And then if you live in the same neighborhood, you're going to have to fight him every day.
Every day.
Every day, you're going to have to fight him. So it said, when thou goest forth to battle against our enemies and seest horses, chariots, and people more than thou shalt not be afraid of them. For Jehovah thy God is with thee, who brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. He's giving you confidence. He said, look at what I did to the Egyptians. That was the greatest army that you saw. So don't be afraid of these Canaanite nations. Don't be afraid of them. He said, I got you. Don't be afraid of their horses, their size, or any of that. It shall be when you draw nigh unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people, and shall say unto them, Hear, O Israel, ye draw nigh this day unto the battle against your enemies. Let not your heart be faint. Fear not, nor be alarmed, neither be ye affrighted at them. For Jehovah your God is he who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies, to save you. So once you put your trust in the Creator, that's what the priest is telling you.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. The battle is won.
Amen.
Because most war is psychological
Amen.
rather than physical. Mike Tyson had people psyched out before they got in the ring.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson was at his peak. They said he was 5'11". He wasn't even that tall. He was about 5'9", 5'10", the tallest. 218 pounds at his heaviest when he was at his best.
oh yeah.
He was fighting guys that was 6'5", 270 pounds, who should have the clear advantage.
Yeah.
But because psychologically, he took their heart,
Yeah.
the war was already won.
Yeah.
Came in there with black boots, black shorts,
No socks.
looking at no socks,
No roll.
no robe, just with a towel with a hole in it. He looking up at you.
This is the maniacs.
And you scared of that little guy. You scared of that little guy.
Round one.
He hit you, bam! You holding on. You've been hit a million times in the gym. You've been hit harder. He wasn't the hardest hitting person in the world. I mean, he hit hard, but he wasn't the hardest heavyweight that hit in the world. But people were psyched out because why? He was knocking everybody out. So if you go into the battle with fear, you already lost. You can't go into the battle with fear. But I'll tell you a funny story. The reason why Buster Douglas beat him, Buster Douglas' father had died, I think. His mother was in a coma. Something happened with him. His mother was dead. And he was just like, I'm going to just throw caution to the wind. He was in one of those type of modes, like, I'm going to just train and I'm going to just throw caution to the wind. And the perfect storm happened. Mike Tyson wasn't training. He thought this was a walkover. And Buster Douglas showed the world how to defeat the bully. Boxed him, and knocked him out. Yeah. But he stopped him. And what you see is that once you put your heart to something, once you overcome your fear, that anything is possible. Fear is the number one factor that holds us back in most of the things that we do in life, believe it or not. Because you fear, you're afraid to take chances. Man, I'm afraid to do this because I don't know what might happen. Fear, once again. And that's going to cause other people to fear. So that fearful spirit, get rid of it. We are people of Yah. Yah gives us confidence. He tells us to be wholehearted towards him. So if you put your trust in him, then understand that everything is going to work out. Because if it's like that, why are you praying? Why are you praying if you're fearful? Don't pray and you're fearful. Once you pray, you're supposed to leave it with the Creator. Let us go.
5. And the officers shall speak unto the people, saying, what man is it there is that have bought a new house and have not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in battle and another man dedicate it.
Very fair. You just bought a new house, go back home.
Yeah.
Go with your house, enjoy your house.
Enjoy your house.
Right? We out here for war, but you go enjoy your house. Let's go.
And what man is there that have planted a vineyard and have not used the fruit thereof? Let him go and return unto his house, lest he die in battle and another man use the fruit thereof.
Yeah, you just planted a vineyard. Not talking about a vineyard that's already there. A vineyard that you just planted.
Yeah.
Go enjoy the grapes, drink the wine off the vineyard, and go enjoy whatever it is that you have there. Very fair. Let's go.
7. And what man is there that have betrothed a wife and have not taken her? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in battle and another man take her.
Man, go have your nice little sweet wife, you know. Don't let nobody else enjoy her. You enjoy her. So if you just got married, go enjoy your wife. It says you get a year off, right? You get a year off when you just marry your wife. From all your duties, you get a year off. Go enjoy your wife for a year. Let's go.
8. And the officers shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say,
This is very important. Let's go.
what man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted?
If your heart pump Kool-Aid, right? If your heart pump Kool-Aid, because we know this happens, what it says?
Let him go.
Let him
and
go.
return unto his house.
Go back home. We understand that you're not a warrior. Let's go.
Lest his brethren's heart melt as his heart.
Why? Because when you out in the battle, you fighting and you start seeing gore and stuff like that. You start going like that. Let's go. Retreat. Retreat. And it ain't time to retreat. And then the other guy be like, maybe it is time to retreat.
Right.
That's what it is. Your heart pump Kool-Aid.
Amen.
So because your heart pumps Kool-Aid, and you see, it don't matter the stature, right? Because you can have a big guy that don't have that heart.
Right.
And you can have a guy that's 5'5" that got the heart and jumping all over you, and that guy is dangerous.
Amen.
You can have a midget that got the heart, and he run and we laugh, right? But you think that midget won't do damage? He got the strength of a grown man.
Yeah.
And if he run between your legs, you done. Think about it, fighting one of them. It's not that easy. If they got the heart, it's not that easy. Got the strength of a grown man. He gonna tear your knees up. He low enough to do damage to certain parts that you don't want done damage to. Yeah.
Like a little chimpanzee.
Pick you up and slam you. So heart is not measured. It says there's a saying. It's not about the size of the dog, but about the size of the heart, the fight of the dog. Yeah.
The fight of the dog.
The dogs that fight the longest is the smallest
Small
ones.
one, yeah.
They're relentless.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I know one that attacks me all the time.
What?
It's a little dog attacks me all the time. I don't play with him though, or with her. We be having battles. But that's the job, to protect. And those little dogs don't ever give up. They fight till they die. Let's go.
9. And it shall be, when the officers have made an end of speaking unto the people, that the captains of hosts shall be appointed at the head of the people. When thou drawest nigh unto a city to fight against it, then proclaim peace unto it.
So when you get rid of everybody who got a wife, who got a house, pump Kool-Aid, all that stuff, You get rid of all them guys. Then you go proclaim peace to the city. Now you got the thorough guys. These are the guys that you know. You know, these are the guys that you know they're going to fight till the death. Because that's what you really need when you go to war. People that are willing to give their lives and fight till the death. That's what war is about. Let's go.
11. And it shall be, if it make thee an answer of peace, and open unto thee, then it shall be that all the people that are found therein shall become tributary unto thee and shall serve
So if
thee.
they say, peace, peace, Israel, say, all right. And everybody that's in the city become tributary to you. Let's go.
12. And if it will make no peace with thee, but will make war against thee, then thou shalt besiege it. And when Jehovah thy God delivereth unto thy hand, then thou shalt smite every male thereof that is in the city, even all the spoil thereof, shalt thou take for a prey.
As cruel as it
thyself.
sounds, you got to kill male babies. Because you're not going to keep the mama with the male babies and she going to raise them up to kill you.
Wiping everything out.
That's what Genghis Khan's mother did. They killed his father. The next gang killed his father. She raised them up to hate them forever.
Amen.
Yeah, that's what he did.
She raised them up to hate that gang. I mean, she raised, and when he got old enough, he was the most vicious ruler in Asia.
He was.
They said they could find Mongol DNA through all the countries in Asia, all the way to China.
All the way to China.
That's what he did. That's how much hate she put in them.
He trained all.
Yeah. They'll come ravage your city. They won't even leave people there. They'll just rape the woman.
Yeah.
They went to China. I think they were the cause why they built the Great Wall of China. Yeah, the Mongols, because they went in there and burnt China down. And they weren't as much as the Chinese. They went in there and they burnt China down. Raped their women and left. All them places, Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan and all them people that look like Mongols. That's because Genghis Khan and all them guys went up through there.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
And thou shalt eat the spoil of thine enemies, which Jehovah thy God hath given thee. 15. Thus shalt thou do unto all the cities which are very far from thee, which are not of the cities of these nations. Howbeit, of the cities of these people, that Jehovah thy God giveth thee for an inheritance, thou shalt save alive nothing that breatheth. But thou shalt utterly destroy them, the Hittite, and the Amorite, the Canaanite, and the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite.
These are the cities why they got spewed out the land. So these people right here are the people that are the blood drinkers, the ones that worship the false idol. These are the reason why, you know, these are the ones that brought the land to the reason as to why we're there. So don't let anything of theirs breathe. Get rid of them. Destroy them. Let us go.
As Jehovah thy God hath commanded thee. 18. That they teach you not to do after their abominations, which they have done unto their gods. And so ye sin against Jehovah your
But guess
God.
what Israel did? After Joshua died, the time of the judges, we began to do all the things. We didn't even wipe away the nations that God told us to wipe away. So they became a thorn to our side. And that's why we're in the situation that we're in right over here, teaching people about this way of life. Let's go.
19. When thou shalt besiege a city a long time, and making war against it to take it, thou shalt not destroy the trees thereof by yielding an axe against them, for thou mayest eat of them. But thou shalt not cut them down, for it is the tree of the field, For it is the tree of the field that thou shouldest besiege it of thee. Of the trees of thou which thou knowest are not trees for food, them thou mayest destroy and cut down, but thou mayest build bulwarks against the city that maketh war with thee until it fall.
So it's telling you, look, when you go into a town and you besiege it, the fruit trees, the apple tree, the peach tree, leave that stuff, because you're going to need that stuff.
Exactly.
Those are fruit trees.
That's right.
The pine tree and stuff like that, you could cut that down.
Yes.
You need to make bulwarks, and you need to make rams to knock down their walls, whatever it is. Use the trees that do not give you fruit.
That's right.
To make whatever it is that you need to make. Today, just a side note, you know that the Amazon is burning down.
Yes. Yes.
I hope y'all know that that's happening. The Amazon provides 20% of the Earth's oxygen. But they burning it down because big economy is the key now. Big business is the key now. The guy that's in Brazil right now is just like the guy who Agent Orange, like I told you earlier.
Bolsonaro.
Yeah, that guy right there, he's just like that, like this guy. He said, out of his mouth, he said, if a police officer doesn't kill someone, he's not a real police officer. He's talking about the people that live in the favelas, in the ghettos. That's our people.
Bolsonaro. The beach.
So, the Most High God made this earth and preserved it for us to live in it and to be able to get the resources from the earth. The Pacific Ocean is littered with all types of plastics. Now, the earth is ours. God gave it to us. Now, we have to be able, they have Brooklyn, New York, and New York City has a recycling program. I know some of you, man, who's this? The Torah don't got nothing to do with that. I know Torah don't got that. Don't say nothing about that. But it's our earth that God gave us, right? Let's try to do the best that we can to preserve it. So if they just telling you put plastics over here, put plastics over there. If they tell you put the disposable stuff over here, put disposable stuff over there. Put cartons over here because that stuff is recycled. Plastic, the earth can't break down plastic. That's why it ends up in the oceans and it contaminates. Then we wonder where these diseases are coming from because if plastic is not, I mean, I don't know who invented that or who thought it was a good idea. I believe it was DuPont that invented it. But when you, that stuff doesn't disintegrate, it doesn't break down. The earth don't break it down. You know that New York City still has lead from when cars used to have lead gasoline in it? The earth, they did an examination because lead just doesn't disappear. Lead doesn't just poof and disappear. So it's in the soil. So they were doing a study about asthma. They were doing a study about respiratory problems and all that. And they said that lead is still, whenever somebody does something, that lead still goes up in the air.
Yeah.
All these things are pollutants.
Yeah.
These are things that affect the soil.
It's carcinogen.
Things that stick to our lungs. You're like, this person never smoked.
Yeah.
How they got something wrong with their lungs? Because, you know, automatically you feel, oh, he got something wrong. He got lung cancer, but he never smoked. That don't mean anything.
Right.
That doesn't mean anything. There's so many pollutants in the air that is problematic. And we have to take care of ourselves. Let us go.
Chapter 21, verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
If one be found slain in the land which Jehovah thy God giveth thee to possess it, lying in the field, and it be not known who have smitten him, then the elders and thy judges shall come forth, and they shall measure unto the cities which are round about him as it is slain, that is slain. And it shall be that the city which is nearest unto the slain man, even the elders of that city shall take a heifer of the herd, which have not been wrought with, and which not have drawn in the yoke. And the elders of that city shall bring down the heifer unto a rough valley, which may neither be plowed nor sown, and shall break the heifer's neck there in the valley. And the priests, the sons of Levi, shall come near. For them Jehovah thy God have chosen to minister unto him, and to bless in the name of Jehovah. And according to their word shall every controversy and every stroke be. And all the elders of that city who are nearest unto the slain man shall wash their hands over the heifer whose neck was broken in the valley. And they shall speak and say, our hands have not shed this blood, neither have our eyes seen it. Forgive, O Jehovah, thy people Yisrael, whom thou hast redeemed. And suffer not innocent blood to remain in the midst of thy people Yisrael, and the blood shall be forgiven them. So shalt thou put away the innocent blood from the midst of thee, when thou shalt do that which is right in the eyes of Jehovah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. So, when innocent blood is spilled,
That's right.
there has to be an atonement made for it.
That's right.
Even if you don't know who did it.
That's right.
Amen.
You got to bring that heifer to that rough valley. Elders of that city got to wash their hands over it.
Yes.
Symbolizing that I wash my hands from this blood.
Yes.
It's not, I had nothing to do with it.
That's right.
You know,
That's
now,
right. That's right.
there are also murders that go unsolved.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
There are things that go unsolved. There might be a passerby from another nation
This is it right there.
that
That's
caught
how-
an Israelite slipping somewhere.
Exactly.
Killed them and kept it moving.
Yeah.
And there was no way for us to find out that this passerby did that.
Exactly.
Or somebody was delivered into someone's hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
You never know.
Never know.
You never know how God works. But it says, nonetheless, when this happens, because there is no blood that's innocent. You know, every blood, it has to be accounted. All blood has to be accounted for. You cannot spill innocent blood. That's why you have to be careful when it comes to judgment and how you put your hands on people.
Yeah.
Because when you put your hands on people, you're taking things to another level. Putting your hands on people and just, this society has taught us to just react. Right? And we react against each other, but that's not the way you're supposed to live. There's judges, there's officers, there's people you can bring things to.
Yeah.
That's why the punishment is so severe. It says, if you fight with your brother, right? And in the midst of fighting, he loses time.
Yeah.
Meaning he can't go to work.
Yeah.
Because you left him limping. He got a plate in his head. Or something happened. You cut his face.
Yeah.
It's a punishment for that. Because God don't want us as Israel to be fighting
That's right.
physically with each other. Because if somebody loses their lives, guess what? There's a judgment for that.
Big judgment. Teacher.
They try together and a woman with child is in the way.
Oh.
And the woman, and they bump into the woman and she loses the seed.
Yeah.
There's a punishment for
That's
that.
right. The fine for that. That's right. Teacher.
So, oops, I'm sorry is not
No,
the
no,
answer
no.
to things that happen.
No, no.
Oops, I'm sorry is, I step on your foot, I'm sorry. That's oops, I'm sorry. But when people losing lives, when blood is being shed, people losing tubes, people's eyes being knocked out, people being cut, oops, I'm sorry, don't
Don't get it.
Don't get it.
You gotta make it good.
You got to make it good. That's the way that the Most High God deals with things. It says a just weight and a just balance as Jehovah's delight. Hallelujah. With that, I thank the Creator of heaven and earth for this time. And I pray that the Most High God will bless us all. Let us all rise and face the east as we end out this portion of the day. As I say these words, I hope that and I pray that the Most High God would even grant us all a blessing.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Wa daber Yehovah el Moshe lemor. Daber el Aharon we el Benah lemor. Kotebar ku bnei Yisrael amor lahem. And Yehovah spoke unto Moshe, saying, speak unto Aharon and unto his son, saying, on this wise he shall bless the children of Israel. He shall say unto them, Yevareka Yehovah Yishmareka. Ya'er Yehovah Panawleka Wikuneka. Yisa Yehovah Panawleka Yasem Laka Shalom. May Yehovah bless thee and keep thee. May Yehovah make his face to shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. May Yehovah lift up his countenance upon thee and may he grant thee peace. Hallelujah. 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 Be quiet, Avon. We will return at 5:45. Remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy.